Hi, everyone. It's Grace Smith with the Wise News Network, and we have a very exciting segment planned for you today. Now, it's no secret that Election Day is just around the corner. Next Tuesday, November 7th, citizens from Cherryville will be lining up at their precincts ready to cast their ballots for the race for City Council member. Today, we sat down with Janice Hovis, candidate for City Council, and we discussed her campaign platform. Unfortunately, Malcom Parker was unable to comment and sit down for an interview at this time. However, he did provide us with a statement. He said that he is very happy with the direction that Cherryville is going, and he is excited for the future of the town. Stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy this interview. Hi, everybody. This is Grace Smith with the Wise News Network, and today I am here with Janice Hovis, who is running for City Council. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I hope you are,
I'm
Grace.
doing great. Thank you so much for asking. So, Janice, my first question is what exactly made you want to run for City Council?
Well, the one of the main things was I had many friends come to me and ask me to run. They uh, they knew my past and my experience, and they wanted a choice. So I I debated a long time because I had lost my husband, and I really thought a lot about it, and I really prayed a lot about it. And as the time drew closer for the filing date, I uh, I talked to a lot of my family, a lot of my friends, and we just came to the decision this was a good time for me to run for this office because I am living alone and I have a lot of time to give. And I just said, okay, this is it. This is the time.
And what are some changes that you hope to facilitate if you were to be elected?
Well, I think there's some changes that need to be made in our infrastructure. Um, and I know that there's some division in the town on some topics. And I would like to be able to work to maybe bring people together, be transparent about certain issues so that everybody on both sides can understand. And basically, that's it.
And you mentioned your experience. I know that you were city manager. How did your previous experience as city manager kind of prepare you to take on the potential of this role?
I worked for the city for 30 years. And as the old saying goes, I kind of started at the bottom and worked my way up. So I've had a lot of experience at City Hall doing a lot of different things. And I collected utility bills. I handled complaints about utility bills. And I was assistant to the city manager. And I did some planning and zoning as part of the duties there. And I just feel like that all of that experience in dealing with the citizens of Cherryville, and I felt like that was one of my strong points, that I had a good rapport with the citizens, and I was always willing to talk to them and hear their concerns. And when they came in and they were very, very upset with utility bills, I could always reason with them and help them out whenever I could.
I think that's important qualities in an elected official. And if you are elected, what are some city projects or improvements that you would like to oversee?
Probably one thing that I think needs to be addressed, and I've had a lot of people come to me during my campaign and complaining about the condition of our roads. That's probably the first thing that I would like to to see be improved. And there are some other things with the infrastructure and with the growth that we know that's coming this way. we have got to make sure, and of course, roads are part of the infrastructure, a big part of the infrastructure,
Mhm.
along with the water and sewer. So that's probably the main thing that I'm going to be working on.
And can you please tell our viewers why you specifically should be elected as city council member?
Well, I am the most qualified. To put it bluntly, I think I am the most qualified. And I think that the people deserve a choice. And I think I'm the most qualified.
Recently, Cherryville has undergone several changes in the downtown area. How do you think a thriving downtown can affect the population of a city?
I think it's very important. And I am very, very proud of the way our downtown has been improved. And I think it's necessary. It's necessary for our growth in population that people do not have to drive out of town to go to a restaurant and to go do whatever they would like to do. And it just, I think it brings people closer together when you have a thriving downtown. And even now we have, of course, the residences downtown
Mhm.
on the upper levels of a couple of the buildings. I think it just is a very, very good economic attraction for our city.
And do you believe that downtown Cherryville is the economic driver of the community?
Well, I would say it's a big part of it. But I tell you what I think is a big driver is safety and security and our school system. I think those are big drivers. Now, the downtown helps a lot, but I think people look at Cherville as a safe place. And I think that is the main thing, main driver for people wanting to come to Cherville. I have even had people tell me that has moved here from other towns and other states even. So I think that's the big driver.
And what are your plans to support small businesses located here in Cherryville?
Well, there are a lot of programs out there to help small businesses. I think mainly on a state level. And I think we should be able to offer assistance to those small businesses in any way that we can. And I know that our Chamber of Commerce and our Economic Development Director have done a good job in doing that. And I think that we need to continue to do that and help in any way that we can keep their expenses down so they can be successful.
Along a similar vein, how do you propose to bring more jobs to Cherryville?
I would like to see us working closer with Gaston County Economic Development Director because I know that Mr. Donnie Hicks, who is that director for Gaston County, he has been doing a tremendous job bringing jobs to the county, out in the county. And I think if we work closer with Mr. Hicks, and he will help us bring potential companies to look at our area, and we can work closer like that.
What opportunities would you attempt to create regarding industrial or commercial specific jobs
Well,
here?
the first thing that we need to create um, for a potential company is looking at properties and working with property owners and also with with state officials as far as workforce and bringing in a qualified workforce.
Mhm. There have been several new housing projects that have been proposed for the area recently. How do you think these new developments will benefit Cherryville?
But they're going to benefit Cherryville because it's going to create more tax base for us.
Mm-hmm.
That will, bringing in more property taxes. And it's going to also bring in, of course, more population to support our small businesses. But we've got to make sure that the infrastructure is in place for these housing developments. Now, these have been proposed back before I decided to run. So hopefully, city administration has done their homework, and they already have decided that this is something that's available. The infrastructure is available because water is a precious resource, and I'm very concerned that we have plenty of water.
And community engagement is a crucial part of planning for new developments. How do you intend to involve citizens in the decision-making process regarding future developments?
Well, all these developments, of course, must go before the Cherryville Planning and Zoning Commission, and that's a good start for letting the citizens voice their opinions. However, you've got to be transparent. You've got to let the citizens be notified of these situations, and I'm not sure that is being done properly. I know there are requirements, there's publication requirements. When there's meetings going on, there has to be public notification. But I'm not sure it's being done to the extent that the citizens are aware of what is being done. And then when it goes from the Planning and Zoning Board to the City Council, I think there needs to be a lot of transparency there. There needs to be public hearings, and those public hearings need to be very well publicized and invite the citizens to share their comments about how it's going to affect the future.
Recently, there has been a big push towards recreation in town. How do you think a strong recreation program benefits the city?
In fact, yeah, that is one of my points. Right under safety and security is recreation for me. I think it's very important, and I think we need some improvements in our recreation area. And I know that the city has done some things recently to do that, but there's a lack of activities for all people, for all children. I know that baseball, is the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cherryville, the baseball is the big thing, and that's great. But there's just kind of a loophole there for certain children that's not able to participate in certain team sports. And I think to do that, there's going to have to be more organization. Mm-hmm. We need a full-time recreation director so that these team sports can be more organized, and the Y has been a great asset for the city, because when I was city manager, we did not have the Y. Mm-hmm. And that has been a really, really great asset for the city, especially for the older population. I go 2 days a week. I belong to the Silver Sneakers group up there, and it's a wonderful activity for the older population. But I just think there's a spot there that needs to be fulfilled with a full-time recreation director.
And once that recreation director is hired, should you be elected, do you have any ideas for future recreational projects in mind?
I just think we need the programs we have right now to be enhanced and to be more inclusive.
And how do you propose to maintain and keep up Cherryville's parks and green spaces?
Well, with the new director, I think we'll go a long way in facilitating that. We have great We have great public works employees, and they are asked to do many different chores and wear a lot of different hats. And I really believe that we can handle that with the employees that we have. However, if need be, we may have to increase our employee base because I want Cherryville to be clean. I want Cherryville to look nice and our green spaces to be well kept. So I would support whatever needs to happen, for that.
And you've already mentioned infrastructural maintenance. Obviously, infrastructure maintenance is an ongoing challenge. How do you plan to address the repair and maintenance of essential infrastructure here in Cherryville?
Well, that's first and foremost. That I will have to look at that at budget time.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope that there would be enough revenue coming in to support the required maintenance that's needed. And I know that there are some state grants and state programs out there that we could apply for. But if need be, I would support whatever it takes to have a strong infrastructure, especially in these times right now. With I think we're in a drought. That's just my opinion. I'm not a meteorologist, but I'm concerned about the state of our water system.
Now, it is no secret that the Cherryville Historical Museum has been quite the hot topic around town recently. And what stance do you take on the sale of the building?
Well, why do you think I'd want to answer that question? Let me tell you how I feel about the museum, period. Cherryville has a rich heritage, a deep and rich heritage. All you have to do is go uptown and look at Heritage Park and see the emphasis that Cherryville has put on their heritage in years past. And there's so many people in Cherryville that are passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
They are very passionate about our history and our traditions. However, I really feel like I would like to see, I love the building, the historical nature of the building, the historical uses of that building, the city hall, the jail,
Mm-hmm.
the police that was housed in that building. I want to see it maintained as a museum. That is my personal opinion. Now, the sale of the building is a different issue because I know there's a lot of things to be worked out about maintenance, this sort of thing. It is an old building. And the financing, who's going to pay for what. And when the city first decided to sell the building, of course, this is before me getting involved in running for the city. So I don't know what their reasoning was for wanting to sell it, but I feel like that if everyone can work together, and I'm including Mr. O'Leary, the city, and the historical board, museum board, if we can all sit down respectfully and talk respectfully, I think everything can be worked out. Mm-hmm. To please most everybody and still have our nice museum downtown. That is my opinion. But we've got to have people willing to talk mm-hmm. in a respectful way.
How do you propose to protect the history and the heritage that is so cherished here in Cherryville?
First of all, we need to appoint the historical board, a very dedicated Cherryville Historical Society. Am I saying that right? Cherryville Historical
I believe it's the Cherryville Historical
Association. You're
Yes.
correct. Okay. I think the city is on the right track with that. I think they're going to appoint a whole new board. And I think that's a good starting point, is to just appoint a new board and start from there and have the documents drawn up between the city and the board. And I think with some good board members, I think it can work.
And now, kind of changing topics. Recently, we've had a concerned citizen reach out to us regarding Cherryville's electric prices. What would you say to a citizen if they came and asked you about their high utility bills?
Well, that's been an ongoing topic for many, many years. But Cherryville, at one point, we bought our electricity wholesale from Duke Power many, many years ago. And of course, we resold it to our citizens. But no one remembers way back. This is way before you were born. Duke Power was in a situation where they were having trouble raising funds because they needed to build more power plants. So they were going to their wholesale customers, which Cherryville was one. There's quite a few cities around that were wholesale customers of Duke. They were going around and telling their wholesale customers, we may not be able to guarantee you the power supply that you need, which was very disturbing. That was very disturbing. So the electric cities is what they're called, electric cities, got together and formed this association, and they came up with the power agencies, which we financed one of the units at the Catawba Nuclear Station. And so getting started in that new endeavor caused prices to go up. There was debt to pay, maintenance to pay on the nuclear station. So wholesale prices went up. And so therefore, our retail prices rose also. But I am glad to say that with the hard work of the power agency in Raleigh, dealing with other power companies, they have been able to reduce wholesale rates recently. And I can't sit here and tell you right now what Cherryville has done as a result of getting reduced wholesale rates. I don't know. I think they maybe have passed on some to their customers, but maybe I'm not sure if they've passed all of the reduction in the rates onto their customers. But I want to work very closely, work closely with the power agencies to make sure that they are doing everything they can to resell any of the power that we may have available out of our nuclear station, our unit, so that we continue to level our retail rates closer with other utilities around us via Duke or Rutherford Electric. But that's what I'd like to see done.
One of the biggest concerns of Cherryville citizens relates to the proposed Piedmont Lithium mine. How would you address citizens' concerns relating this mine?
Well, Grace, at this point, there's a lot of information that I would have to gain myself to answer that question, because I have a lot of questions myself about the whole situation. I haven't been involved in, in any of the negotiations with the city or the county or the state. So I really can't answer that question uh, intelligently right now, I don't think, without gaining more information.
What will you, as an elected official, do to ensure the due diligence regarding Piedmont Lithium and their proposed mine?
Well, at this point in time, I think I would have to rely on other governmental agencies to do that because I think they are pretty well, uh, they are having to deal with all kind of governmental agencies, not only Gaston County, but geological people and environmental people. There's all kind of the health and human services people they're having to deal with now about everything. So I would have to rely on those other agencies.
Understandable. And how would you intend to foster a connection between the city and Piedmont Lithium should you be elected?
Well, I think we have a good contact now with Emily Blackburn. She's a hometown girl, and she works for Piedmont Lithium. And in fact, I talked to Emily the other day, and I said, Emily, there's a lot of information I need. I'm hearing a lot of things, and probably what I'm hearing is not always truthful. So I need to talk to you, and let's see if you can educate me a little more about where we stand at this point, what's going on. And she has agreed to meet with me. We just haven't had a chance to do that yet.
I'm glad that you're getting the information and making yourself educated on the matter. It's a big one and that we're dealing with here in town. And next, the city budgets are very complex. How do you intend to be financially transparent to the citizens of Cherryville?
That is the number one thing that I consider I have the most experience with is budgeting. And I am looking very forward to getting down and dirty in the numbers and looking at the budgets and seeing where the money's coming from and how the money's being spent. And I know it takes money. It does take money, a lot of money to do projects and run a city. But I'm a little bit on the conservative side, and I'm just very much looking forward to digging into the numbers and finding out what's what.
What is your approach to fiscal responsibility?
I would say first and foremost, being conservative, being transparent, and letting the people know what it takes to run the city and where the money is being spent. Do you want an excellent police department? You've got to have the money to do that. You want a wonderful fire department, which we do have. We have a wonderful fire department, but it takes money to do that. So I just think you have to be transparent with the citizens and let them understand what it takes to do that and also where the money comes from.
Since COVID-19, homelessness has been on the rise across the country. Unfortunately, Cherryville is not an exception. How do you propose to help the homeless population here in Cherryville?
Well, that's really touches my heart because I just talked about this last night at church. We have Bible study on Wednesday night at my church, and I mentioned the homelessness. How are we going to approach the homeless population? And someone in our class in our study group said, they had talked to someone, and they were surprised at how much homeless we do have here, which I was not aware. I really am not aware, but I understand it is a big issue. But I'm a Christian, and I just think we have to help each other and I would do whatever is legal for the city to do. Certain things we can do, certain things we can't do. But it's it's something that touches my heart.
Kind of along a similar vein there, in relating to how we could potentially help this population. Do you have any ideas relating to low income or affordable housing?
Oh no. Well, we have these developers that's coming in here and looking, at putting up housing developments. And I just think it just has to come from that end. I really do. I know the city, through zoning and this type thing can do so much, but I just think it's going to have to be a coordinated effort with not only the cities, but it's going to have to bring in some nonprofits and county people and state people. It's going to be bigger than just Cherryville, I'm afraid.
It takes a village.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you bring to the fourth ward specifically of Cherryville?
Well, I live in the fourth ward.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that I just do things for the fourth ward. A lot of people misunderstand that. They think that just the people that live in the fourth ward just votes, but everybody votes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. It's just not, you don't vote by wards. So I represent all of Cherryville, not just the fourth ward. So my decisions would be for the good of all of Cherryville, not just the fourth ward.
What specific issues would you like to address if you were elected?
The growth that I feel like what I call the Charlotte sprawl, which is moving kind of this way.
Mm-hmm.
Belmont's dealing with it right now, and I know eventually it will be coming our way. That is something that we need to plan for, and that is probably one of the main concerns that I have, that everything is in place to accommodate that. And the second would be, let's get the roads fixed. We need to get our roads fixed.
Good. And what do you think that you bring to Cherryville?
I bring deep historical heritage. I have a family that's been here a long, long time. And with my experience, my years of experience, and dedication and love for the city of Cherryville, that's what I bring.
Do you have anything you would like to add regarding your campaign?
I think y'all are doing a great job, but I just want to impress on all the people that is listening to this to please exercise your right to go to the polls and vote. It is very, very important.
But yes, that is definitely very important.
That's the last thing I would like to say to the voters, yes.
Well, great. Thank you so much for coming on, Janice, and we will see you Tuesday, November 7th at the polls.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
A lot of information to digest, I know, but don't worry, you still have a few days before Election Day to make any final decisions regarding your candidate. Election Day is this upcoming Tuesday, November 7th, and if you need any information regarding your precinct or the new voter ID regulations, please go to our social media pages. We can be found on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We also post articles to our website, wisenewsnetwork.com. Thank you so much, and join us again soon. For the Wise News Network, I'm Grace Smith.